Hey there! I hear there's a kid in your life that has the Warhammer 40k bug. A, sorry, but B, you want to be the cool uncle, the cool aunt, the cool grandma and grandpa, whatever it is, you want to get them something cool from their brand new hobby. But you don't really know what to get them because Warhammer 40k isn't your thing. Well, congratulations for two things, because one, you have better taste than I do, and two, you're about to get a really decent and short guide to gift giving for your Warhammer kiddo. Okay, so before we begin, here's a short caveat. This is not a specific guide to gift giving. In other words, I'm not going to tell you what toys to buy for your kiddo. Instead, I'm going to give you a general framework of how to think about gift giving for your Warhammer 40k kiddo. Because let's face it, you're going to need gifts for Christmas, or whatever holiday is practiced in your household. You're going to need presents for birthdays and graduation gifts, and there's a really good chance if your kiddo is really into Warhammer, they're going to want Warhammer gifts. So, every time it comes up, remember this guide and it won't steer you wrong. Now, before you buy, there's three things I'd like for you to keep in mind. One is ask. If you live nearby or you have a close relationship with that kiddo or the kiddo's family and they're knowledgeable enough about their hobbies, ask them, what kind of armies is that Warhammer kiddo into? Are they into Space Marines? Are they into Chaos? Are they into Tau? Are they into Age of Sigmar? Yikes! I'm kidding. It's a fantastic game. Probably I haven't played it, but the models are fantastic. The thing is, this hobby, while it's very, very niche, is also very varied. So, a kid that's into hobbying and crafting, so a kid that is into this hobby could be into Warhammer 40k, they could be into Age of Sigmar, they could be into Warcry, they could be into Battle Mech or Mech Field, what is that game called? I don't know. They could be into D&D. They could be into any kind of game system out there that has miniatures that are made of plastic or resin and that require painting and then arraying them in a pretend battlefield and battling out with their nerdy little friends. Now, you can go out and buy something from this whole universe of things that you can buy. There's a really good chance that if you don't know what you're looking for, you're going to get it wrong and you're going to get one of these. Thank you, Uncle. And nobody wants that fake, polite smile. You want the, awesome, you're the best uncle in the world. Well, that's what I'm going for anyway. Your mileage may vary. So, find out what they're into. If you are pretty sure they're into Warhammer, if they're into Warhammer 40k, fantastic. And if they're into Age of Sigmar, it's a Citadel game, this guide will help you out. If they're into Battletech or some of those other games, this probably won't be very useful to you because I'm not going to direct you to any of those game systems because I don't know what they're like. But I bet you some of the things from this video can apply to those. So, if you know it's about Warhammer 40k or Age of Sigmar or Kill Team or one of those game systems, feel free to listen to the rest of this video. Okay, before you buy number 2, find yourself a friendly local game store, particularly one that's close to where your Warhammer kiddo lives. Now, if you or your Warhammer kiddo live in a larger metropolitan area, there's probably at least one friendly local game store. What that means is that it's a third party, it's a, some mom and pop store that specializes in selling Warhammer or crafting gaming supplies. They probably have like Magic the Gathering cards, they probably have comic books, they probably have all sorts of things, and a little corner of their store is devoted to Warhammer 40k. They probably have an arrangement with Games Workshop to get their products in store or order them. And as a benefit, you get a discount, and even more importantly, you're supporting the store that your Warhammer kiddo is going to use to meet up with his or her friends, have pretend battles, stay at a mom and dad's hair for a couple of hours on the weekend. You want to support that friendly local game store. And again, they have discounts that you can get over the internet. And finally, before you buy, do not buy them tools. Don't buy them wet pallets, don't buy them lamps, don't buy them paint. Well, maybe paint. Don't buy them brushes, don't buy them a rotary drill, don't buy them any of those things. yes, they may want some of those things, but it's not going to get their Christmassy, their celebration juices flowing, at least not like a big old box of Space Marines with a couple of tanks in there. Yeah, you want the big box full of plastic happiness. That's what you want to give them. Let their parents get them the paint rack, the super glues, the epoxy putties. There's a lot of stuff that they'll probably want. You get to get them the good stuff because you listen to this video. Finally, some recommendations. So, what should you get your Warhammer kiddo? Or at least, where should you look? Armed with your newly gained knowledge about what your Warhammer kiddo is into, you really have three options. If you want kind of a nice, hefty gift that stands out from the rest of the garbage underneath the Christmas tree. The first thing that I'll recommend is kind of iffy. So the first recommendation is really mostly for those of you shopping for the Christmas or the Christmas adjacent holidays. Games Workshop puts out once a year during this time of year what they call Christmas boxes. What we call Christmas boxes. The point is, they're sold during December. They generally are big boxes full of plastic figures that your Warhammer kiddo is going to want to assemble, is going to want to paint, and play with. So you want one of these if you can get them. And that's the thing. These sell quickly. It is today, December 2nd, 2022. This video will probably be up by December 3rd, 2022. By December 4th, 2022, all of Games Workshop's Christmas boxes are probably going to be sold out. Yeah, it's like that. But if you have access to a friendly local game store, maybe they can order one, or maybe they have some that you can go to their location and pick up. Be prepared to spend about $200-ish, maybe $230. I'm not really sure on the prices this year, but that's about where you want to be, which is, yeah, it's quite a bit of money. But this is going to be a big old box of goodies with your name attached to them. You're going to be the cool uncle or aunt or whatever it is that you want to be. Yeah, the cool version of that one. Here's another suggestion for those of you who want to go with a large box of something to get your Warhammer kiddos started. Games Workshop puts out Start Collecting boxes, and these aren't once a year. These are a decent discount, and you can get a decent amount of miniatures for your kiddo. These range probably between $100 to $200 depending on your area and depending what you get. Think of them as a medium-sized collection. The Christmas boxes were kind of a larger collection. And the really nice thing about these is that there's a lot of them and they do not sell out. Well, not normally. Sometimes they do. Your friendly local game store probably has a couple of these on hand, which is awesome because you can go right now and pick one up. But because they're not limited availability, you can go to that local friendly game store or even the Games Workshop website and place an order for it to arrive in the next couple of weeks. That's always a strong option. Just make sure you have a good idea of what kind of army your Warhammer kiddo wants to build. If they're really into Space Marines and you show up with a Tau army, I mean, it's still cool, but not as cool as if you had picked up the right thing. So, again, ask first, if at all possible. Finally, for those of you with kind of a smaller budget, there's a third option that runs the gamut between kind of pricey, like the $200 range, and quite a bit less pricey, around this $50, $60 range. One of these choices could probably put you in the running for Cool Uncle, but the Cool Uncle designation won't be automatic like it will be with any of the other boxes that I've talked about so far. Games Workshop has kind of a smaller format game. It's called a skirmish game. It's called Kill Team. Basically, it's a small army of like 10 to 14 figurines that, fight against 10 to 14 figurines on the other side. Same kind of deal. They're awesome miniatures. You build them, you paint them, and you pit them against each other, but it's a smaller format. Your Warhammer kiddo, it will only need these 10 to 14 as opposed to the potentially couple of hundred miniatures that he would need if he's playing like a 2,000 point Tyranid army. And the good news for you is that a box of 10 to 14 is a lot less expensive than a box of 120. There are a bunch of different kill teams, and here it's harder to go wrong because each person who plays Warhammer 40k, or specifically kill team, probably has one favorite kind of unit, but they probably would not mind having multiple different units. So, if your Warhammer kiddo is into kill team and they're all about the Tau, if you show up with a Chaos Warband, they're probably going like, yeah, I could do this. I can have a second army. Absolutely. Sticking with the kill team theme, you could even go a little bigger. Rather than having the one unit of like 10 to 14 dudes, you could gift your Warhammer kiddo a box with 2 of those and some scenery with which to play with his friends. Probably has some game tokens, it probably has some dice, it probably has a bunch of the stuff that your Warhammer kiddo will need to actually play a game of Warhammer 40k, or at least the kill team version of it, which is pretty darn cool. These obviously are quite a bit more expensive, ranging at around the $200 range again, but honestly, it's really hard to go wrong unless your Warhammer kiddo is really into Warhammer 40k and nothing else. And that is all I've got for you today. Good luck with your gift giving. If you have any specific questions, hit me up in the comments. I still read all of them because, let's face it, I have this many followers. The nice thing about having a small YouTube channel is that you can still interact with every single one of the people that asks you a question, as long as they're decent human beings. Some of you are kind of mean. Shame. But the rest of you, hit me up. I will do my best to answer your questions. Thank you very much for watching. This has been Your Average Bear Gaming. Best of luck in your gift-giving endeavors. And as always, please be nice to yourselves and each other. Peace.